Intro music.
Come on in.
A star for the ages for Tony Gwynn, number 3,000.
They have acquired Eric Johnson and Fernando Tatis Jr. from the White Sox in exchange for James Shield.
Welcome to Slam Diego.
My name is James.
My name is Joey.
And this is the Brothers Padre.
James, how are you doing?
You know what? I'm doing good. I have been to 2 Padre games this week.
Wow.
Yeah.
Fancy. They won both of them, too.
They did. A dominant pitching performance by Hugh Darvish and a dominating pitching performance by Joe Musgrove. Although the one I kind of wanted to see the Blake Snell one in person more than the other 2.
Do you know Blake Snell, before the last 2 day starts, had a much worse day ERA than night ERA? So he had his day ERA is over 9, his night ERA is 3.2 before the last 2 starts. And I was like, oh, day ERA, Snell's no good. But then he shoves on Sunday. I'm like, whatever. Yeah. That's why you shouldn't hang hats all in stats all the time.
No. Hats on Stats. Is that a Dr. Seuss book?
Hats on Stats. Is that... I'm sure there's got to be some weird sabermetrician guy that has a children's book, right? That's like hats on stats, stats on hats.
Probably.
What's a war? How do you store a war? And we've lost half our audience. That's just for that joke.
I mean, it wasn't really a joke.
James, it is August. There's not a whole lot of baseball left. Where did it all go?
In the past, Joe.
This is the 19th week that we've been recapping episodes. This is not the recap episode, but just, I don't know. It's been flying by. We have, how many games left? Let me count them up.
49.
49 games left. Remainder of August, and then September, and we have 1 game in October. No, we have a whole series in October. We play the Giants the 1st and 2nd and 3rd of October. So yeah, I just wonder how you feeling, James? Because currently we are set a 3rd in the NL West, which usually means we don't get into playoffs. But the 3 best teams in baseball might play in the NL West. So
Exactly.
San Francisco Giants are 1st, Dodgers are 2nd, and Padres are 3rd. But we are 2nd in the wild card, behind the Dodgers. The wild card is currently the Dodgers are ahead of us in 3 games, and the Cincinnati Reds are behind us 3.5 games.
So to clinch a playoff spot, we just have to stay ahead of the Reds.
Yes.
To avoid a 1-game playoff, we have to get past the Dodgers.
Yes.
I think we'll do that. Definitely. We'll pass the Dodgers.
You think we'll pass it? You think we'll be the first? You're saying we're going to pass the Dodgers, period.
Yeah, absolutely.
You think we're going to win the NL West?
Okay, I think the Giants are going to win the NL West, but I don't think they're going to go far in the playoffs.
Yeah. So that's an interesting prediction because I'm going to lay out the schedule and we'll get more into it. So we, over the next few games, play the Marlins for 2 more games, the Diamondbacks for 4 games, the Rockies for 3 games. And then after that, our schedule gets tougher. We play the Dodgers, I would say the Phillies, the Dodgers, the Angels, the Diamondbacks again, the Astros, the Angels, Dodgers, Giants, Cardinals, Giants, Braves, Dodgers, Giants. We have a second hardest schedule remaining in all of baseball.
Who has the hardest?
I think it's I actually think it's the Angels that do. I've looked into it. I think it's someone like the Angels who are kind of like scheduled the same way we are, which is like a lot of West Coast trips, but playing West Coast teams in September is not a good thing this year.
No, I don't. For whatever reason, the Padres have turned it up during 500 plus teams this year.
Yep.
Unless they're in the Central Division, for some reason, the only team in the Central Division we can beat are the Cardinals.
Yep.
So I'm not terribly worried about what we're facing. I think we find ways to beat better teams.
Yeah, it's true.
And so I'm not worried. I think the Phillies are a joke.
Well, hell,
they really
they're the hottest
are.
team in baseball. We're faced them once.
They're the hottest team in baseball, but they're playing the Pirates. And they're playing...
They beat a very, very barren Mets team this weekend.
I was going to say, just that the Mets have fallen apart. They're the hottest team in baseball, but they're not playing good teams.
How mad are you that the Dodgers and the Giants are going to face the Mets over the next 2 weeks, and none of them are going to have faced DeGrom?
It is upsetting. It's very upsetting because
we faced him twice.
Yeah, we faced him twice. Yeah, and DeGrom is on the next level. But again, he pitches like a madman. That's why he's hurt all the time.
Right.
So everyone who thought he was going to be the MVP, he's not going to be MVP. He can't miss half the season and being the MVP. It does upset me that they don't get to face him. I was looking forward to seeing the Dodgers look like fools. I always the Dodgers look like fools.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then after this weekend, I think anybody that's still a Dodger fan, I don't understand you morally at all. Did you see that guy running on the field?
Yeah.
Here you have 25 supposed men on the field, and not a single one of them trying to take care of this guy. He was running around causing chaos, and they let the ball girl take care of it. First of all, great talk about the ball girl.
Yeah.
Hats off to you. But there were 25 supposedly adult men there. How could you root for a team of a bunch of wusses?
I think
take care of the
I'll
problem.
caveat one more higher. They're security guards. Their whole job is to make sure it doesn't happen.
Yes, but if somebody in a Dodger uniform is going to take out a thing, all of the Dodgers' wives are terrified at night because their husbands won't take. They hear a bump at night, they won't do anything. Dodgers, I get paid too much money. You go take care of the burglar, sweetheart. Just saying.
Yeah, I'm definitely not too worried about the tough schedule. What I'm worried about is the Reds the Reds have the second easiest schedule remaining. That worries me more. Because if they just go on a tear, and like the Reds are a chaotic team too, because their bullpen stinks. Right? They can lose to bad teams very easily. But, 3.5 is nothing over 49 games. That is doable.
Yes.
Right? I would feel a lot better if after the stretch of games against the Diamondbacks, Marlins, and Rockies that have an 800% win percentage, right? Like 80% of the games we win.
I agree.
Like
the next 11 games, we have to be 11-3. I mean, 80% 7-4, but 8-3. We're playing terrible teams. The loss against the Diamondbacks this weekend was one of the stupidest.
It's a that's baseball Susan moment. Like it's just like that's baseball. It's like no balls were hit over the fence that one inning.
No balls made it to deep outfield. They were just hitting these dinky little infield single. 9 singles in a row. And they weren't even hard hit. They were just like throwing. They literally one guy threw his bat at the ball and got a single.
We'll recap it when we recap the game, but it was very hard to watch. I texted him like, I'm done watching. I'm taking a walk. I can't watch this anymore. Can't. I think that my fear is the same fear the Padres have, is the fourth and fifth starter. What does that look like? Because aforementioned game was started by Ryan Weathers, who seemingly is not missing bats. He's not really able to strike people out. We see this. I mean, we talked about it in the Rocky game he had and this game. He'll get up to 2 strikes easy peasy, but does not have the kind of stuff to immediately strike someone out.
I just don't think he has the confidence. For some reason, he'll overpower you for the first 2 strikes, and then he just wants you to chase for the 3rd strike. And that's fine, but you don't have a chaser pitch.
No.
If you overpowered him, then he'll try to throw a chaser pitch and it just floats up there. Or he'll miss 3 balls and then he'll throw a fat one down the middle and they'll get a hit. So no, I think it's a maturity thing with him. He just needs to learn to pitch, have faith in his stuff, because he has dynamite stuff. He just needs to be able to have confidence in it.
His great skill is just like that pinpoint accuracy of that fastball. And when he steps that back, when he reels that back for whatever, try to be tricky, it's just like he's not tricky. That's not. You came to the dance because you weren't tricky. You came to the dance because you're aggressive in the zone.
Exactly.
And I know that typical hitter wisdom is, or pitching wisdom is, don't flood the zone with hittable fastballs. But he's very effective with that fastball. It's a weird arm slot, and he can get outs with it. But I don't know. It definitely, I think down this last 40 plus games, it's a question mark that bad teams can destroy us, which means that good teams can very easily destroy us.
Yeah.
And I don't know what the answer is. We have Matt Strahm back, or get Lamet back, who can both be long-ish relief pitchers. But we need something, because I would love what happened in the last 3 games happen every time around. And for the sake of, we'll talk about it in the recaps, but on Friday, Darvish took the bump. And Saturday, pitched 7 innings, 2 runs were allowed. Blake Snell pitched 7 on Sunday, pitched 7 innings with no runs allowed. And Musgrove pitched yesterday on Monday, 6 innings pitch with 1 run allowed. And also the Saturday and Sunday Snell, Darvish and Snell start. They both had 11 plus strikeouts.
Yeah, 12 for Hugh, 13 for Blake. It was pretty awesome.
So I would love that to happen every trip around the rotation. It's just quality start machines that just come in and pump out 6 to 7 innings of great baseball. But even with that, we can't have 2 big question marks at the tail end of it.
I agree, and
not in the regular season. In the playoffs, it's a little more acceptable because you can get away with just 3 good starters.
That's why if we can keep ahead of the Reds, when we pass the Dodgers, we're in the clear. We have a very good playoff team because we have 3 really good starters, and we have the best bullpen. So we just have to get to September. We have to get to September and October, and I think we'll be fine. I'm not too worried about it. Again, the Reds offense is great, but they did nothing to fix their bullpen.
They got Michelle Givens. Crickets.
Yeah.
It's just, they traded their best bullpen piece, and now he's a star closer for the Angels last season. So maybe the bullpen isn't what they should be.
I don't think the Reds expect to be as good as they are right now.
I don't know. They are kind of like the Angels, though, right? They have this stacked offense. But except the Reds have like good starters too. Wade Miley and Sonny Gray and Luis Castillo are good starters. But then they just didn't think about shoring up the bullpen at all.
And once you get past the starters, they're just terrible.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah. What's your dream scenario? Your dream scenario is, of course, we win the NL West and we can go to the division series. But I don't think that is such a... That could happen because we do play the Giants a lot. However, it's baseball, so we should always temper expectations. So what is your realistic dream scenario going into the playoffs?
First seed wild card. We go past the Dodgers. Like I said, the Dodgers can't win. They're a bunch of loser men.
I actually think the Dodgers are more beatable in a 1-game series.
Oh, absolutely.
Than a 5-game or 7-game series. Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah. And I sound stupid, but like, I think that we can throw all of our horses in one game and keep them at 1-2 runs, and the back end of Dodgers bullpen is also susceptible to problems, and the Padres have done well against every one of their starters this year.
Yes.
So
every one of their starters we've scored off of.
Yeah. And I think the Giants are more beatable in a longer series too. And I say that, but Giants are an enigma, man, because they have a very well balanced club, and they're a lot like the Rays and the Athletics. They substitute the crap out of their ball club late in the game, and they just get the best out of every one of their players. So it's hard to predict what you think about that. It's hard for me to say like, oh, they're going to be terrible in a division series, but I do feel like we've seen them enough, and with our 3 starters, I think they're better than their 3 starters. I think so. My dream scenario is the same as yours, right? Like it's Dodgers, then Giants, and then who do you want to face? If we go past the division series, who do you want to face, and who do you not want to face?
The only team that legitimately gives me any kind of pause in the National League are the Brewers.
The Brewers are my nightmare. Absolute nightmare.
So that's the only scenario. Everybody else is beatable. Yeah. Everyone else we have beaten. The Brewers we haven't. And the Brewers have 2 of the best starters I've ever seen. Like I
and Peralta is like a sub 3.5 ERA pitcher too.
Oh yeah, I know. They have a phenomenal killer lineup. You forget that Peralta's good. Adrian Hauser is good. They have 4 really good starters, but Burns and Woodruff. It sounds like a law firm. Have you been wronged in a lawsuit? Call Burns and Woodruff, and we'll also strike out your best hitters.
If I'm going to face them, I want to face them in a 7-game series, because you're just going to give as many chances as I can get, because it's because you're basically guaranteed 2 or 3 games you just won't win, because if Woodruff and Burns are on it, they'll pitch 6-7 innings, and then it goes Devin Williams and then Josh Hader. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just, I don't know. And then they did exactly what you should do in their position, which they're running away with that division, right? And what did they do in the deadline? They got Eduardo Escobar. Before that, got Willie Adames, and that Rowdy Tellez, and they've shored up spots where they had weaknesses. An already great team is shoring up spots. Oh man, yeah, I don't want to face them.
Like I said, those are the only guys. Those are the only guys that I fear. If we face the Cardinals, piece of cake.
It won't be the Cardinals. This is my prediction. You want to ready for my prediction, James?
Okay.
I think the Phillies take the NL East somehow. I think the Mets are in such a disarray. Lindor's out, Baez is out, DeGrom's out. That's insane, dude. That's an insane set of 3 people. Those are three people you do not want out right now.
No, not at all.
And so they have Stroman, Taijuan Walker, who are good pitchers. I'm not saying not bad pitchers. And that's kind of like their best players. They have Conforto and Nimmo, but like, is Stroman, Walker better than Nola and Zach Wheeler right now?
No.
No. Zach Wheeler is incredible. But I'd rather face the Phillies than the Brewers. But I do not see that Phillies lineup doing that much damage against the Brewers if they were to face off.
I don't either. No. Anybody that faces the Brewers the first round is gone. A 5-game series with those pitchers, yeah, they're not going to make past. They're not going to do it. They're just not going to do it.
So it would be right now, that would be the seeding, right? It would be Giants win the West, Phillies would win the East, and Brewers would win the Central. And who knows? The Brewers could. I mean, there's a world where the Brewers push past the Giants in the win and loss column, right? There totally is a world where that
exactly
happens. Because the Giants are playing Dodgers and Padres at the end of the year. Just like so it's going to be a rough series for it's going to be a rough month for every NL West competing team. And so it could very well be that Brewers just jump ahead, and then they're the number 1 seed. So whoever wins the wild card has to face them. But that's baseball. You have to beat the best, James.
You have to beat the best? Yeah, to prove you're the best. Exactly.
And currently, while we're talking about playoffs, we might as well talk about the American League. Tampa Bay Rays are first in the AL East, up by 4 games. The Boston Red Sox. Remember how you said the Tampa Bay Rays were irrelevant at the beginning of this year?
I did, yes.
And I said they're always going to find a way to win. Well, I was right. Best team in the AL right now. Bananas. And they trade away starting pitchers, FYI, this year.
I don't know. I don't get it. I don't understand. Yeah. And the thing is, like, how do they not have fans?
Yeah. I don't know, buddy. I don't know. Best team in the AL still can't sell out their dome. It's very odd. The White Sox are best in the AL Central. They lead their division by 10.5 wins.
Safe to say they're going to win the division.
I would say so, too. White Sox have some boppers, though, dude. That's a team that if we saw them it would be a fun series if we met them in the World Series.
Yeah, exactly.
Any team that faces the White Sox in the World Series is going to be a fun series because that offense is potent beyond belief. And the Astros are ahead of Oakland 2 games in the West, AL West. The AL, I think the AL is probably going to be a more tough playoff run than the NL. That's my prediction. Because I think Houston, White Sox, and Tampa Bay are all stacked with talent. And
so is Boston.
Right. And right now, the wild card in the AL is Oakland, Boston.
Let's not forget the Yankees still think they're in it.
They can be in it. Things just have to fall. Like the Athletics in Boston have to start losing for this to happen. Those are 3 teams that don't really cower and pressure in this time of year. There are certain teams that just we can't handle this pressure and we just start losing. Oakland Athletics, Boston Red Sox are not those teams. So it could be a dogfight. I wouldn't be surprised if 4 days away from the end of the season, this is the exact same standing.
Probably.
Right. In the wild card, it's still Oakland, Boston, Yankees. Are the Yankees playing? Who's their last series?
I have no idea.
You don't know the Yankees scheduled by heart?
Well, I'm sorry.
They're of course. Why would you know the Yankees scheduled by heart? The last homestand they're playing the Tampa Bay Rays. So good luck, New York Yankees against.
Yeah,
that does not sound like a fun time.
No, I think the Yankees. I don't know. The Yankee fans are just irritating because I think they're World Series victor every year. You're not. Yes, you got 2 good hitters during the trade deadline, but your star pitcher hasn't thrown a strike since a sticky substance ban. I'm just saying, your star closer hasn't thrown a strike since the sticky substance ban. I'm not saying you're cheating. No one's accusing anybody of anything. But your pitching staff hasn't thrown a strike since the sticky substance ban.
I will say one thing about the Yankees fans, and it's the only nice thing I'll say about other fan bases. I think this year has been the most we have no idea organizationally what we're doing in a long time. Because they kind of don't. They kind of don't know what they're doing. They spend a lot of money, and they have all these big right-handed bats, but there's no organizational philosophy that goes past that. Whereas everyone else in the East in that division has a real philosophy around how they're going to win. The Blue Jays are we're going to have this young group of talent that are good hitters and go use the entire field, and we're going to develop these pitchers, and we're going to trade for good pitchers. The Red Sox are we're this fun mixture of Tampa Bay with a little bit of money. Tampa Bay's we're weird, but we always win.
The Yankees' philosophy really is their owner went, I don't understand. My dad spent lots of money and won. How come I can't spend lots of money and win?
Because you're not a psycho like your father.
Your father also spent lots of money on players you needed.
Enough about them, James. We got to talk about a couple more things Padres related and one more baseball thing. For now, Tatis Jr. on the IL. Past few days has been doing what, James?
He's been practicing the outfield.
Yeah.
Something I believe, if you've listened to the podcast for a while, especially, I don't know, what was it, the third episode we ever did?
I actually don't know. It was an early episode.
And
I don't keep track of what we say when we say it.
I said I would like to see Fernando Tatis in the outfield, and Joey
Was very offended by it.
was very offended by it. Went on quite a tirade.
Episode 6. 40 some odd episodes ago.
Went on quite a tirade about how wrong I was, how he was, the best baseball mind in the world, and
Tatis or I was?
you were. And what?
I 100% didn't say that, but whatever.
Yeah, you implied it, and everyone understands. I mean,
The tone implied.
implied, yeah.
Everyone understood via my tone that,
Exactly.
I'm the finest baseball mind ever. Okay. I didn't know my tone had so much words.
I'm just saying. I don't know what you're arguing. Everyone knows it. You can, the proof's on the tape. Re-listen to the episode. It's there. And so
we have a clip on our YouTube in the clips playlist.
And there was a bet. There was a bet.
A gentleman's agreement.
There was money laid down. There was a wager placed. And there was money on the line. So if Fernando Tatis plays the outfield, Joey has to give me $20.
Yep. I'll give it to you the first time I see the letters OF in the box score next to Tatis Jr.'s name. And that might happen in a couple days.
Wayne Kirby said he is.
It's definitely not speculated. He literally is practicing to play the outfield.
Yeah.
He's not. Yeah. So he's literally working with Wayne Kirby to be an outfielder. The hypothesis is he's less diving. Jace Tingler said, he hurt himself diving in spring training. He hurt himself swinging early in the season, and he hurt himself sliding last time. And I think the thought is he fixed his swing, so they don't have to really worry about that, right? Sliding in defense is something they can mitigate by what? Make him run down fly balls in the outfield. And it's bananas. But he's a super athlete, and he has crazy speed.
And if he's in right field, as much as I like Will Myers is a way better bat off the bench than Marisnik.
Yeah. What do you think about... Yeah, so I definitely think that there's a possibility where I think that Grisham and Tatis could split time between both. I think there's a world where Tatis plays center only and Grisham moves to right. Because corner outfield spots can be tougher than middle center field. What is the expression? Center field's the hardest, is the easiest position to pick up as an outfielder, but the hardest to be the best at. And the corner outfield is the toughest to be okay at. Just because of slicing line drives and it's just hard to read the ball off the bat from those corners. So I could see where Tatis plays center more, and then Grisham gets to be right or left.
Yeah.
So what is it? I mean, what is an outlook? What is it? I mean, this is such a crazy thought because it doesn't solve our infield problem, influx of infield problems. So what's your ideal defensive setup for the best offense? Or just what defense would you put out there to say, hey, this will win us a baseball game?
As of right now,
Let's
left field.
Let's assume Tatis is an outfielder.
Yeah,
a right fielder or a center fielder. Yeah.
Pham, Grisham, Tatis as the outfielders. Machado third base. Cronenworth shortstop. Frazier second base. Hosmer first base. If we're facing a lefty and we wanted the right-hand bat, we put Kim at shortstop, Cronenworth at first.
Yep.
And I think that
Nola
catching, obviously.
Yeah. I agree with that. It's interesting. I mean, Hosmer. I mean, we might as well talk about it now. The reason why I bring it up is because Hosmer is doing very well recently.
Extremely well. He's hitting 400 since July.
People, this is what I hear on the street, is that he's a loyal listener and he got mad at us. That's what I heard. I don't know. I can't corroborate this, but I trust the source. Twitter's very trustworthy these days.
Very, very trustworthy, even though it was your rumor you started.
And I hear that he was offended, but our conversations around how we didn't think he was deserved to have a playoffs roster spot. Some of us, he was offended that he was even talked about, be traded away. And sources close to him have said that kicked into high gear.
You know what?
Our loyal listeners can parse through what's true or not. I'm not saying
this is true. I think obviously our reach. We knew we have a great reach.
Oh yeah.
Manfred calls us all the time and tries to ask us our opinions.
Yeah.
He never listens to us, which is irritating. But at least he's getting advice. So maybe one day he will listen to us. So our podcast is definitely influential and far-reaching. So listen, Eric. We're very grateful and happy that you're hitting well right now. You're hitting like you did the first month of the season. Keep it up, buddy. We believe in you.
Eric Hosmer since the All-Star break is batting .345 with a .441 on base percentage and a .534 slugging. That's good for an OPS of .976. Very good.
Very good.
His defense has gotten better as well.
That's the part that blows my mind. Does he just just kick it in high gear all year, man? Your defense is getting better. He hasn't missed it seemed like almost every other game he missed a ball. Do you know the Padres have had 14 straight games without a miscue?
Yeah.
That's insane.
It's also because Tatis hasn't been playing. I don't know if I probably mumbled that. What I mumbled was it's because Tatis hasn't been playing.
You know what? The thing is, a lot of people are speculating that could be his shoulder. The reason why he just can't.
Yeah, he was like a Gold Glove caliber shortstop last year.
Exactly.
Right. I frankly don't really care. His errors are not greater than being the best offensive player in the National League. Right?
Yeah,
just
I agree.
isn't. Just not.
Did you just get an email?
I got an email. Hold on.
I like that.
Like the sound?
I silenced all my electronics.
We're in my office. We've had to move studios today. Okay, there you go. Sorry, everybody. Yeah.
We're professionals.
Professionals.
Someone should fire the interns.
Yeah, let's fire the intern. No more on my payroll. I think that I really, really want to believe this is the Eric Hosmer going forward. I do think that we need more. We need to force lefty-righty platoons more. We need to have Kim. I know I just said that I don't care that about Tatis' errors because he's the best offensive player in the National League. But when you're someone who might be one of the best defensive infielders in baseball, and that's Ha-Seong Kim, and I'm not having hyperbole. Like via defensive run saves at 3 different positions, he's like top ranking in all of baseball.
Oh, I know. He's insane.
And he has the ability. He has a legit power stroke, right? And I know that we're in a win now mode. I know Hosmer is a hot hand. I get it. You just cannot guarantee me that he's always going to be a hot hand. And next year when the DH comes, or when we're playing the World Series with the DH, I want a more comfortable Ha-Seong Kim at bat, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Or if it's a power thing, then platoon with Myers, move Myers back to first. You know,
He wasn't a bad first baseman.
no, he wasn't. So I mean, that's what I'm trying to say. It's like this Eric Hosmer. It's cool, and I like that he's around. but I think we still got to find at bats for Kim, because he's so good on the field. He literally will save runs. He doesn't produce runs, but he'll see the opposite end of it. He'll save runs. It's happened several times this year.
And he's getting better at bats. So the more at bats he gets, the better he will be. And because I know AJ Preller is thinking 3 years ahead, a 5-year plan constantly, Ha-Seong Kim is going to get a lot of playing time next year. So if we get the DH happens, that means we're going to have a lot of rotating players being the DH. Everybody will get a day off,
right?
A week. They'll just be the DH, which is actually kind of brilliant if you have that kind of offense and that kind of flexibility in your infield, especially the infield. We have so many good infielders. So I think Ha-Seong Kim will be at short one day, second the other, third. He will probably play third, short, and second in 3 consecutive games, because Manny will be the DH one day. Then, Cronenworth, and then Frazier will be a DH, because we have Frazier for 2 more years. And so I think that's what the plan is for next year. But this year, I would like to see Kim hit more at bats. I was really bummed because it looked like he was going to pinch hit last night, and they took him out because I don't know why they put.
Well, he was going to pinch hit with runners on, but when no runners on, they preferred to have Marisnik.
Yes,
which tells you a lot about what the kind of pressure they put on each of those players.
Exactly, and which player they think
has the potential to drive and run versus
exactly. Yes.
Yeah, I would love to see more Kim at bats, and I think I just down the stretch we need to have. I just worry that Hosmer is just, it stinks because he's the least flexible of everyone on the team.
Exactly. If he could play the outfield well, he would. Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, Manny can still play a shortstop. Like, let's not forget that Manny can play a fine shortstop too.
Oh no, I brought this up to you. I don't think it was on the podcast, but the Padres have Manny Machado, Fernando Tatis Jr., Jake Cronenworth, and Ha-Seong Kim. Those are all Gold Glove caliber shortstops.
Right.
And Ha-Seong Kim's a Gold Glove caliber third base shortstop and second baseman. Yeah. Jake Cronenworth is a Gold Glove caliber shortstop, second and
first.
I know he played third one game, but I don't know.
Yeah.
No. I mean, he probably is good at third as well, but I just haven't seen him enough in third to know.
Yeah. I'm excited. I mean, obviously it's cool to be excited about us being up bad teams, but I do think that this kind of momentum will help us. And I think going into the playoffs, we need to have as much versatility and much flexibility as we can.
Absolutely.
And yeah, we'll keep talking about playoff stuff. I mean, this baseball changes a lot in the last 2 months, so hopefully it doesn't change too much the Padres picture. Hopefully it gets better as opposed to getting worse. But yeah, James, you want to talk about the final subject?
Let's talk about the final subject. The final subject is a month or so old now. We haven't had time to talk about because there's just been so many different topics to talk about. Major League Baseball is floating an idea that instead of pitchers and catchers using signs, the catcher will have an Apple smartwatch on his wrist, and so will the pitcher. Or he'll have a bone induction device in his hat. And so the catcher will tap out a little code, like Morse code, fastball, 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 and he'll know to throw a fastball. I don't know if I like this. Actually, I hate it. Let's just go. I hate it.
Why do you hate it?
First of all, I'll hate every member of the cheating Astros offense until they're all dead.
My goodness. Okay. Yeah. Sure. Okay. We'll let that anger fester. Sure. Fine.
Good festering anger is what keeps you strong.
Oh, no.
Anyway, so
That's one way to live a life, I suppose.
so it's just something about you throw down a signal, and if somebody gets sick and can look at it, that's a part of it. And also the other problem I have with it, listeners of Brothers Padre might not know this, but I'm very hearing impaired. And I know a lot about hearing aid technology, and the bone induction reader can cause, to somebody who isn't used to it, severe headaches.
Oh, it's very weird.
It's a very weird feeling. So I don't understand. I get it if it was just a watch to watch. Okay, they want a fastball, and he covers his glove, sees what he wants. That makes better sense than the bone induction reader, because there's so much things that could go wrong with that technology. So they're gonna have little electronic readers in the hat. That, and it is so easy to hack an electronic signal.
That's what I was thinking. It was like,
and I'm like, of course the Astros will hack it. Of course they will. They're in Houston. That's where all the tech people are moving. They have technology in Houston now. They can hack that.
I like how you describe Houston as like this place that had no technology until like a year ago.
Well, it
was a podunk city with a one cow town until
well, we knew they had a camera operator because that's how they were able to do it before. But now they have all the technology, and they can definitely hack that.
There's no, to me, this is why I think about it, is I think you're absolutely right about the technology seems like a weird way to handle it, because you could very easily intercept it. Very easily.
Exactly.
Right? And there are technologies that make it harder, but like, are we now like a cyber intelligence agency? Is MLB's job is to encrypt their catcher pitcher data? And like, what they're doing now is make a new set of signs every game for various situations, right? Because that's the way it's got to be. And also make it so, this is my opinion, is like, make it an open door whistleblower policy to anybody. Hey, this cannot be tolerated. Just tell us, and you won't be harmed.
And let's not forget whose fault this is. This is all the Astros' fault.
Right.
If Rob Manfred, who listens to our podcast, would have had a little bit few more, I don't know, cojones, you ban all those Astro offensive players for life. Full on Pete Rose, shoes Joe Jackson, kick him out of baseball. But he didn't do that. And if he would have banned them for life, I guarantee you we wouldn't even be having this conversation, because you know what? Nobody would be stealing signs anymore because, oh, look, there's Jose Altuve over there. He's mowing lawns because he can't play baseball anymore, and nobody likes him anymore. So every time somebody finds out who he is, he's fired. I'm just saying that's what the penalty. Springer, Springer upsets me the most. He really does. That guy should be selling shoes.
Well, I mean, you think about Carlos Correa is going to get paid also this offseason too.
Yeah.
I mean, it was such a light punishment. And listen, this is, if you're a baseball fan, this is old news, obviously. Everyone in baseball agrees, every fan agrees, this was a very light punishment and did not deter them at all. Astros made the playoffs last year. They're going to make a playoffs this year with a similar set of people. Yeah. And it did not deter it. So now we're like doing this weird technology thing, which can be hacked. Like,
absolutely.
And you just, I don't know. I'm not against technology and doing that. It's like, what if we made it so that, I don't know, in a good society, James, are you familiar with how societies are run? There's like a binding social agreement between people, and there's sometimes hierarchical structures, governments, if you will, that overrule those said societies.
Are you describing Narnia?
Yes. Come into my wardrobe.
That sounded a lot creepier than I think.
I mean, it's kind of a weird premise of a book, But that's not what this podcast is about. Anyway, in a society, James, you do not break laws because you assume if you did, that people want to uphold that society, right? And like, hey, I like being able to walk down to Ralph's and, get food for my family and walk back without being murdered. And you're like, you see someone get murdered and you're reporting it, right? And that's how societies work. When you see murders, you report it.
Yeah, that's generally.
In a fabric, if you're in an organization that's not acceptable, and you're like, oh, I see something wrong, like, well, better shut up about it. That's you have a real big problem, right? Make it so in Major League Baseball where cheating it's cool to rat people out for cheating. That's my philosophy. Like, make it cool to say, hey, this guy's stealing signs. Not just like he's on second decoding which fingers he's doing. No, it's the guy in center field with the HD camera with a cell phone telling the guy in the dugout what's coming out. That's the stuff you want to stop.
Yeah, exactly.
And make it so that you're not like, make it harsh punishment and make it acceptable to come forward and talk about it.
So if I understand your analogy correctly.
Yeah, my murder analogy, yeah. Your
murder analogy, you think what the Astros did is the equivalent of murder. And you know what? I kind of agree with that. They murdered baseball, and they got away with it. It really is. It's just, it's a shame, and I don't. The solution was before us. The correct answer was kick all the Astros out of playing baseball forever, and I really do hope that. Because Manfred didn't do it. I hope that when these guys are, quote unquote, eligible to be Hall of Fame, they don't get into the Hall of Fame.
I would have been fine with, and like I said, this is very old. People have had this conversation a lot. But I would have even been fine if they said the Astros are playoff ineligible for 3 years.
Playoff ineligible?
Playoff ineligible.
Oh, yeah, that would have been
like, you can't go to the playoffs. Because I don't, like, they lost draft picks. Well, boo-hoo. Okay? Like,
because they still had a good
right.
They still had a good farm system they could trade for draft picks.
Right. Exactly. So just like, make it so like, hey, you want to cheat? Your entire team can't go to the playoffs. To me, it's like, oh shoot. And also, you strip away the title in 2017, but. That's not what happened, James.
No, not at all. And now we're stuck in this weird limbo world where people are still trying to fix a problem that had an easy solution. And since they didn't fix it the correct way 2 years ago, we're now talking about a little thing that a bone transmitter in pitchers' hats and catchers with smartwatches. And I think I don't think there should be signs. I think if you're an athlete, you're the pitcher and a catcher, before every half inning, you decide the 17 pitches you're going to throw. I agree. I 100% agree.
And just let bygones be bygones. Whatever happens, happens. It's just, and just, you got to prepare for it, dude. Preparation. It'd be good for both of them.
Sure.
James, you know where we can find your podcast?
Is it Spotify?
Oh, we're also on YouTube too.
Really?
Yeah, on Apple Podcasts, we're also there.
And if you're on YouTube, please make sure to like and subscribe.
Yeah. And thank you so much for your continued listenership, listeners. Remember to comment. Say hi to us on the street when you see us on the street. We'll say hi back. You don't know what we look like. That's how we like it. So.
Exactly. So just say hi to anybody that looks like a James or a Joe.
And see if that's one of us.
And there's so many podcasts out there. They might also have a pod. Say, I love your podcast. And thanks, man.
You see two middle-aged white guys? Yeah, they're going to have a podcast. Until next time, go Padres.
Go Padres.
There it is. Ho-ho, doctor. You can hang a star on that, baby.
Are you describing Narnia?
Yes. Come into my wardrobe.